Hello, everyone. Welcome to Time for Emerging Markets Towards Winning Emerging Markets podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Fortune, and today I'm going to talk about some two fascinating books that we're currently reading in our reading community that starts at 10 p.m. every day from Monday to Thursday. So it's not every day, it's from Monday to Thursday because Friday to Sunday is optional. You can always join, but you're not obligated to join. But these two books that we picked for this month, just wanted to share with you guys why I decided to pick these books and how much relevance it's going to be for how we think of Africa and the direction forward in reshaping conversations that are more inclusive and has pretty much a more diverse conversation of how we think of innovation, entrepreneurship, and community in Africa. So the first book that we're starting today, April 6th, is The Next Factory of the World, How Chinese Investment is Reshaping Africa by Irene Yuan. And the audio version is narrated by Nancy Wu. And I decided to pick this book because there's a lot of controversy about Chinese investment in Africa. There's some positive elements. There's a positive theme that talks about the progressive nature of having China as one of the predominant foreign direct investors and also the major player in Africa. And there's another side, another team that says China's presence in Africa is counterproductive to the locals and takes power away from local Africans. So you have these two camps. At the same time, I think this book, from my initial readings of it, it finds a very good balance of how to make the conversation in a very civil, but also in a very a balanced way that I think gives a lot of credence to how the partnership can go move forward, because at this point it's inevitable that China has have a significant role to play. But most importantly, I think what is really, something that I'm really excited about the book is showing that, factories actually is one of the ways that we should think of developing the continent, having local factories that actually produce products, rather than exporting them and importing them later with higher prices, and and that is actually, you're outsourcing, or you're actually pulling capital out of these local markets indirectly in a way, because you're actually importing highly expensive products that could have been produced in Africa. And having that conversation of how this factory industry is shifting to Africa and perhaps being owned by Africans, I think it's a very interesting proposition for how we think of innovation, in how we think of prosperity in Africa, how we think of growth in Africa, and how we think of the next Africa as the next frontier market, owning the markets. And if you think about it, most of the very one of the richest people in Africa, Aliko Dangote, actually the richest man in Africa, owns factories, right? He does cement, and he does other products, that really shows that if you own a factory in Africa, you actually have that upper hand in actually creating wealth, but also helping the local communities in Africa. And through the lens of the Chinese entrepreneurs in Africa, I think she's trying to lay out a case of how, in some way, that is how development works. And also, having Africa produce more products can actually be a reasonable path on how we think of prosperity in Africa, right? So I'm excited about the book. I've not finished it yet. I just started it, but that's the sense of what I get into it. And I've watched some videos from the author on how she did her research. A former McKinsey employee, they have some really good data. So there is some interesting aspect to that. And feel free to join us. Here is the information to join the meeting on Zoom. We have the meeting ID and the passcode if you're interested to join. So that would be our first book. The second book is called The New Harvest, Agricultural Innovation Africa by Calestous Juma. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2017. He was a really great professor at Harvard Kennedy School. And his research has focused on agriculture for a while, and I think for a very long time, not for a while. But I like this book too because it shows why we need to innovate in agriculture, which is one of the largest sectors in Africa. Over 30% of most GDPs in Africa is through agriculture, and 70% of people are either 70% of most populations in Africa are farmers. So having a book like this that showcases the importance for people in power to invest in agriculture as a priority can actually help develop most of the economies of the continent. And also, having a coordinated effort for people in high power to actually, really help train farmers and, consolidate some of the resources can really, position some of the economies of most of these countries to a better place. And if you look at examples of how Rwanda came out of poverty, or how Uganda survived after Idi Amin, they focused on agriculture as a priority, and it actually helped countries like Rwanda get out of poverty into now focus on other sectors. But that was like the first step that it did. So I highly encourage that. I'm actually excited about this book, and I think you actually provide a lot of insights of how we have to still not forget about agriculture as a sector and see how, irrespective of our employments or positions in whatever we're doing, we can actually utilize some of the knowledge that he shared in this book, some of the details that he provided in this book to contribute to how agriculture can be developed and the agriculture sector can be developed in Africa. So I'm excited about these two books. Feel free to join our session, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate all those who have been here since it started last year. We're gonna have some really exciting guests coming up in the future, and I'm looking forward to, engaging more with you guys in one way or the other. Please feel free to reach out to me. There's a contact on here. You can either contact me on LinkedIn, but to email me is checkup@germanycorp.com. So Germany, J-A as in Apple, Amani, so M as in Maxwell, A as in Apple, N as in Nora, I as in Indigo, Corp, CORP.com. So checkup@germanycorp.com. Or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, check out photo on LinkedIn, and I'll be looking forward to connecting with you. Or, if you want to say you have any conversation about Africa, please feel free to just send me a message on LinkedIn. But I really, really love the fact that you're interested in emerging markets, frontier markets, and you want to learn more about the countries in these markets. And together we can build something that will not just be helpful to us, but for many generations to come. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care, guys.